okay.
Okay. Yes, we were talking about strategic groups. And the main story is here. We need to think industry. Industry is companies existing in that industry are competing with each other. However, their differ and directly competing with each other. For example, if in the restaurant industry, I mean, you can go out there, eat hamburgers very cheaply in Burger King, in McDonald's, right? And there are restaurants, and you can go and eat there, and they are competing with each other. These companies who apply cost leadership strategy, who want to sell cheap food to everyone, right? These could be considered as a strategic group and competing with each other. However, if it's a luxury restaurant, actually they are not directly competing with McDonald's, right? I mean, maybe they are selling the same thing, maybe they are in the same industry, they are selling food, they are both are restaurants. However, their target is different, their strategies are different, right? I mean, a luxury restaurant, for example, does not aim for opening new franchises everywhere, right? I mean, but Burger King and McDonald's does it. They want to open more and more stores. However, a luxury restaurant must be classy, must have special customers, right? So that they can charge more prices from their customers. So the main message of strategic group understanding here is that within the industries, there are some different strategic groups which have different strategic realities, and you should be aware of this. Another one, an important framework, which is developed by Miles and Snow in 1978. These guys, authors said that companies in an industry or in a strategy group can be categorized into 4 basic types of strategy based on their strategic orientation. Okay, so what are these? Defenders, analyzers, prospectors, and reactors. What are these? So their structure, their culture, their processes constitute that strategy changes. They say these are, even if they are in the same industry, they are applying different strategies. So how come? A prospector, according to Miles and Snow, are innovators, are developers of the industry. They are actually leading the industry. They make the change, they make the investments. We can maybe give the example of Tesla, company Tesla, as a prospector, right? Because they are always investing in new R&Ds, new innovations, right? Developing new technologies. We call them prospectors, prospecting the industry, okay? The other one is defender. If an organization, if a firm is already existent in a major market, have a position, generally old firms, okay? They want to protect their positions rather than innovate, rather than seeking for new profits or revenues. Especially in automotive industry, there are huge companies, right? Think about their position against Tesla. I mean, Tesla is also operating in automotive industry, but producing electric cars, right? And many of try to do the same thing. Maybe they are also investing in electric cars. However, some companies just focus on protecting their market share, protecting their position. Okay? So they don't have much flexibility to change their innovation, to change their structure, because maybe they have already invested a lot into their operations. So we call them as a defender strategy. Generally, big companies, old companies trying to protect their positions. The third one is analyzer, and these analyzer strategies defines us as telling us some large corporations, often the market leaders, that build on others' innovations and develop new products. So these guys actually see that, for example, Tesla is making a new electric car. Okay, we should also do that. And if I remember it's right, it is not wrong. Volkswagen also trying to make some electric cars, right? So they are investing in that. Okay, they are huge companies. They exist in the companies for many years, but they try to adapt to these innovations. But generally, they don't lead the innovation. They generally analyze, they see the opportunity, they see that okay, Tesla is doing something good, so we should also innovate. We should also develop new products. This is the analyzer strategy. And also, there are some companies who have no strategy. We call them as reactor. Have no specific approach, just react to the market changes. And actually, most of the small companies are doing that, right? The environmental conditions are changing, they try to adapt them. I mean, they don't have budgets of R&D, they don't have prospects for abilities, right, to lead the industry. So they just react to the market change. We call them reactive strategy. You can see the summary of the Malzahn typology here. So dimension of the environment in these different times, it exists like that. A defender strategy wants an environment which is stable. Okay, they don't like changes because they want to protect their positions, right? A stable environment is better for them because they don't want changes. They already have huge investments in their previous operations, previous factories, assembly lines, right? They want to that continue. In analyzer, they perceive the environment moderately changing, right? They accept the fact that the environment is changing and I somehow need to adapt to this change. A prospector is actually leading that change. It's always dynamic. It's always forced the industry to change. And reactor actually does not have a perception against the environment. What do we mean by that? All of these other three strategic types actually try to make an impact on the environment. For example, a defender, an old company, try to stop the change in the environment. Okay, an analyzer try to somehow catch the change. Okay, and a prospector try to create that change. But reactor just watch it and try to adapt itself. Okay, this is what we call a reactor strategy. Yes, and their strategy as a defender to maintain the market share and analyzer maintain but selectively innovate. So I think the big automotive companies are good examples of it. They want to maintain their existing shares in the regular car industry. However, they also try to somehow invest in new electricity car technology because it is inevitable. It will be happening. It will be there will be more and more electricity cars in the future in our street, right? A prospector tries to find and exploit new opportunities. Actually, there is an example, for example, Volvo and Uber make an alliance, strategic alliance, to create a self-driving taxi car. And there is no driver in the car, it's self-driving, and they are, for example, investing in that. So it's actually a prospecting strategy, right? But when you see that Volvo is also selling their regular cars in the regular industry, we can name that Volvo could be an analyzer, right? I mean, they see that there's a technological movement against the self-driving technologies of Tesla, so they want to be part of it, make a strategic alliance with Uber, and actually investing in that. So these are the examples of it. Okay. Values are said, operational focus, and actually these are obvious, right? Defender try to control the cost. Analyzer, by the way, also try to innovate. A prospector, rather than controlling cost, he wants innovation, he wants expansion. And reactor just depends on the immediate circumstances. There's a problem, try to solve it. So it's a good tool, good typology to understand the different behaviors of firms within the same industry. Okay, a strategic group and Maslow's industry actually telling us that within the same industry, some companies are forming different groups, right? Some companies are having similar strategies with each other. So there are subgroups in some industries, and they have applied different strategies. This is an interesting view. This is a good perspective to understand the industry conditions. Actually, industry matrix tries to show us, it's kind of a SWOT analysis of the industry. Okay, we try to see the strengths and weaknesses of companies in their industry. Let's see an example of that. Before giving the example, actually, I want to introduce you the key success factor concept. A key success factor, or you can call it, is the variables that can significantly affect the competitive positions of companies. For example, in a textile industry, designs and color combinations are key success factors, right? I mean, people go to shopping, want some dresses, some t-shirts, some coats they want to buy, and they are looking for the design, the color combination. It's an important strategic factor for textile industry. And low-cost manufacturing also important because there is huge competition in that market. There are many options, many competitors. So low cost is an important success factor in textile industry. But in home appliance industry, refrigerators, washing machines, or TVs, again, low cost manufacturing is an important key success factor because competition is high. However, in innovative industries like the Tesla's industry, electricity cars, right? The most important thing, the innovation capacity, the R&D knowledge, right? These are the key success factors. So these key success factors could be related to technology, could be related to manufacturing, distribution, logistics, marketing, organizational capability, or other types. You can see here there are lots of factors that could be a key success factor. The important thing is to determine this and to know which one is more important for the company. If the companies are aware of this, he can invest in these success factors. He wants to make himself more powerful in one of these success factors. This is an example, an industry marketing, weighted industry matrix or weighted competitive profile matrix, we can call it. Actually, the main point here is that listing some key success factors, giving them some weight out of 1, okay, with a total of 100%, things like that, and rating your company and rating your rivals and comparing yourself, okay. For example, you listed the key success factors and you decided their weight, the importance of these key success factors in the industry, and you rate your company. If you rate, for example, 1, it says that you are weak at that, okay? If you rate 4, it's that you are the best in your sector. So when you make a study like that, you can make a comparison between the competitive positions of your company regarding your rivals, okay? So you can see here, it's an example. For example, here, they say that in customer loyalty, the company have a 4 score while its rivals have 3 and 2 scores. So they just sum them up and take a total score. Yes, these are the other techniques, but I want to move on, guys, today. Something more important. I mean, you can read the details in the books. They are actually saying the similar thing. I don't want to lose time here, but the important thing is that, let me briefly explain it to you. The important thing is knowing the conditions in your industry, knowing the characteristics of your industry, and then taking some actions regarding. Okay, this is important. So you need to know who to compete. You need to know what are the industry characteristics, which strategic groups are here, which companies you are directly competing, which companies you are indirectly competing. Okay, so these are all important. Do you have any questions?
You know, the first slide, I can't exactly remember the title, you know, the whole restaurant and, you know, the chain restaurant, which, you know, place in the same place, and, you know, they try to, you know, sell, you know, all together. You know, you know, last semester I took a, you know, a course. It was the cooperation and, I think the cooperation between organization, and it was a topic, industrial cluster. It is the same.
Yes.
Yeah, it is the same. It is the same topic. We can be
Uh,
related to, you know, strategic management somehow, the industrial cluster
yes.
or connection, or, you know, the networking between organizational things
Okay,
can be
it's a good
related.
question. A cluster. Uh, sorry, I need to mute Narin. Okay, so a cluster is something strategic group because in clusters you have all of the firms existing in the value chain. A value chain is unit in the suppliers, the buyers, the infrastructure, the government, the conditions, the environment condition, all of the industry called a cluster. For example, a medical cluster together, okay, a medical company is coming together. However, not only the suppliers of that medical companies exist in that cluster, okay. Groups, we only focus on the rivals and their strategic positions. But a cluster, when we call it a cluster, we think it in bigger picture. Okay, we think the suppliers, we think the buyers, we think the infrastructure, logistics, we think the legal conditions. For example, in Ankara, there are medical clusters in Austin, and governments actually have supports for that clusters with a geographical zone. And clusters are generally together with the zone, with the geographic layer. But in strategic groups, not necessarily be together, right? And Burger King are operating globally, and they are globally in a strategic group. However, a cluster occurs, like Silicon Valley in United States, right? The high-tech companies are operating in the same region. So this is the difference between a cluster and a group. Am I clear?
Yeah, yeah. You know, in every mall, for example, in Ankara, or, you know, in alışveriş merkezi, in every alışveriş merkezi in Ankara, for example, you know, there is a, you know, a floor which, you know, they, you know, related to, you know, food, for example, you know, it is
Yes.
very close to your example. So, you know, they call it, you know, yemek katta, I think.
Yes, yes, I understand.
So, is it the same? So can we, you know, you know, put it in the same, you know, example as you, you know, mentioned? Yes, can we, you know,
Yes,
you
they are
know,
most in the same strategic group. I mean, because they are focusing on low income people wants to eat, right? I mean, but they are not exactly competing with, you know, Nusret restaurant, very
yeah, I
famous
know.
Turkish guy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, as you think, for example, one actually with Nusret, right? I mean, no one will think that, okay,
Yeah, it is
today
very
what will
unique.
I eat? Whether I go to Burger King or Nusret. So Nusret is competing with other luxury, like maybe Günaydın restaurant or other steakhouse restaurants. The main idea here, Mohammed, is even they are in the same, maybe there are different strategies. They don't need to consider the other strategies that much. Maybe. I mean, Burger King must look at the McDonald's, right? They are directly with each other. But Burger King should not care or should not look at the strategies of high luxury restaurants, right? This is the main idea.
Okay, thank you very much.
I thank you, Mohammed. Other questions? Okay. understanding